Here we go. Here we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy L. Murphy. I'm the Pulpwood Queen, the founder of this crazy international Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys book club. And we have a full house tonight. We're really excited. We are going to be talking to Debra Thomas, who's got this fabulous book. And we'll be talking about, this is my original copy, but it's now got way more award stickers. So pay attention as we go through the night. But before we get started, I just want to go around the room and introduce everybody, just so that people that are watching live on Facebook know who's here. Kathleen M. Rogers, you want to begin?
Oh, thank you. I live in North Texas, grew up in New Mexico. I'm honored to be April 2021 Pulpwood Queen for the Flying Cutterbucks. And Kathy, you look gorgeous in green.
Oh, it's my favorite color. Now, Debra, here's our featured author.
Oh, thank you, Debra Thomas. I'm in Simi Valley, California, which is northeast of Los Angeles. Originally, I'm from upstate New York, Binghamton, New York. And my novel Loose was the September bonus book for Pulpwood Queens, which I so appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you. Janet, you're next.
I live in Bellingham, Washington, so I'm about 20 minutes south of British Columbia. And I'm really excited. The Quisling Factor is the December International Book Club pick. So I'm really thrilled about that.
And Janet heads up our Bellingham Pulpwood Queen Book Club chapter. So we're excited.
And I think it's going to grow. I'm getting
I
people,
think it is.
yeah, getting
Yes.
people to join because we can Zoom. It's easier if we're scattered. So
Once you learn how to do it, it's really a lot of fun. Let's go to
Yeah.
Sarah. Sarah, excited you're here tonight.
Hi. Yeah, I'm learning to Zoom. So here I am. Janet and I had, I think, one meeting with the book club in person before the pandemic. All of that hit, and it was quite a year. But I'm so happy to get the news that my novel Pause has been selected for a 2022 bonus book. And
Yeah, I just contacted her, so I have it right here.
there it is. Thank you. I forgot to bring. So great to be here. Thanks to everybody.
Okay, and then we have Eileen Sanchez, and Eileen is a Pulpwood Queen and runs Prose and Pandemic, the blog. So, and she has a fabulous book. Tell us about it, Eileen.
You can see the copy behind me. That's my banner. Came in handy. It was a Pulpwood Queen pick for 2020 last summer. So I really appreciate it. It's a story of mandated school integration, but it tells the story from 3 points of view from a small town, how that overnight school closures impacted a Black teacher, a white teacher, and a Black high school student particularly. So it's doing well, because Kathy, I love your support, and the support of all the Pulpwood Queens is just fantastic. I appreciate it.
We're a team, we're a tribe, we're getting it all together. So now, Suzanne, is it Kamata? Is that
Yes,
how you
yes.
Tell us where you're reporting from.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Michigan, but I moved to South Carolina when I was in my last year of high school. And for the past 33 years, I lived in Japan. So right now I'm in Tokyo under quarantine after having spent a couple of weeks in South Carolina. And I usually live on the island of Shikoku. So, and Kathleen and I share the same publisher. So Kathleen seemed to be having a lot of fun with the Pulpwood Queen, so I thought I'd join.
I'm glad
my next novel, The Baseball Widow, is coming out in a couple of weeks.
I've got it right here.
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Yeah. So we're still picking and I'm still reading. So it's got the most beautiful cover.
It does. Yeah.
Excellent job. And then I have right above you my co-host of my book and film club, author Robert Walton. Robert, where are you today?
Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I live, and I'm a Southern writer. My debut novel's coming out titled The Cicada Tree, February 22nd, 2022.
You guys, we've got so many authors coming on board this year. Our annual book club convention is going to be epic. Mandy's here. There she is. And Mandy, at the end, I hope you will be able to show the flip book a little bit, or at least the cover at the very end when we get done with talking to Debra, because it completely blew me away. Our program this year is going to be all of you in full color with your books, and it's going to be a special bonus issue of Reading Nation magazine. The entire program will be shot around the world. So, and we're really getting readership, aren't we, Mandy?
Yeah, we have over 17,000 views, and the website just passed 1,000. The website.
Oh,
yeah. So
it's a brand new magazine. We're pretty thrilled about it, and we've got lots and lots of exciting news. But tonight, our focus is on Debra, because Debra has written a book that will really enlighten, it will educate, and it will touch your heart. So, and it's something that is a very hot button these days. So why don't we begin, for people who don't know a thing about your book, Debra, just everybody's listening on FaceTime, tell a little bit about your story without giving everything away.
Well, it's a story of a young girl from Mexico, Oaxaca, Mexico. Her father is a migrant farm worker, and he has been her champion. As a young girl, she loves school, she loves math, she wants to be a math teacher, and usually young girls around her age, it's about the time they stop going to school. Their parents have them stop. But her father encourages her. He's her champion. He leaves one summer to work on the farms in the US, and he disappears. And her life is changed drastically. She's devastated that he's gone. They are poor. She has to leave school, and she and her sister decide to go on a journey to see if they can find him, find word of him. So the heart of the novel is her journey that she wishes she could tell her daughter Luz. When she's in her 30s, she's thinking back. Her daughter's a teenager. Luz is the name of her daughter. And it's the story she wishes she could tell her daughter and hopes to one day when she's older.
Right. It's a remarkable story. And growing up in Kansas, we had a quarter horse racetrack. And so we had a lot of people from Mexico working at the horse races. And I got to know a lot of them because some of the guys I went to school with were jockeys. And it's the stories when you listen to them, and very few of them spoke English. So it's really difficult to make that journey, and then to have that language barrier oftentimes too. It's getting better now, but your book is going to touch a lot of people's lives, and it's also going to show people that, you know, I posted today on your post, the song we sang in high school that I'll never forget was the Colossus poem that was on the Statue of Liberty, you know, give us your tire, you know, we used to sing this, and every time we'd sing it, I'd always cry, because I think, how awful must it be for other people that just want what we've got. So thank you for your wonderful 2 posts that you've already got up on our new The Pulpwood Queen Presents Kathy's Picks. And let's talk a little bit about, where did this story come from? I mean, what propelled you to start writing this?
Well, back in the 1990s, I was an English teacher. I taught English as a second language to adults, and many of them were from Mexico and Central America. And at the time, my marriage was troubled, and my family was 3,000 miles away. My father is Italian, and I grew up in an Italian neighborhood when I was quite young. So being around my Mexican and Central American students, who many became friends, the language, the religion, their family-centered, so much about their culture was Italian too. And so I kind of felt like I was with family. I felt a fierce connection. And of course, I began to hear some of their stories. At the same time, here in Los Angeles, I was reading literally daily about the deaths in the desert. People at this point, many were coming not just from Central America because of the wars, but now Mexico, because the economy had plummeted. The peso was devalued, and they were desperate. Not like today, we've got, Haitians, we've got people from Honduras. I mean, there's so many heartbreaking stories. So anyway, I ended up getting involved in some immigrant rights. I belong to Amnesty International, and I got to visit a detention center, which is like a prison. They're dressed in orange. I mean, they are made to feel like a criminal for just trying to escape violence or, poverty. I also got to go out into the desert with a group called Water Stations Project. They leave water at different stations and they mark them with a blue flag, trying to prevent the deaths in the desert. So I had a lot of experience. And of course, when I sat down to write, this is what was in my heart and soul. This is what kept me up at night. And at first I tried to write from a woman's point of view like me about her experiences, and the novel just fell flat. And I took a class with Gail Brandeis, writer Gail Brandeis at UCLA. And in an assignment, I began writing in the voice of a young Mexican girl whose father has gone missing, who was a migrant farm worker. And it's Alma's voice, my main character. And the story just flowed. And that was the beginning, the seed.
It's just wonderful. When I went back to college and I was in a class with a young man who's, from Hispanic, and he did a whole art installation on empty milk cartons. And his presentation, he talked about how the water they carried in those jugs was life or death. And it was so powerful, this presentation, and it's something that I never thought of, what they go through to get here. And then I'm sorry, but I just think it's terrible that we would separate children from parents at the border and treat them on concrete with chain link. It's something I will speak out on. Man, I think it's wonderful that you've written this book. Thank you.
It's a heartbreaking situation. It's very complex. And you said the word a bit ago, story. If we hear individual stories, we have a whole different view. If we just hear 10,000 people from Haiti have come to the border, and people are going to say, what are they doing there? Take 1, 2, or 3 of them, a family, hear their story, hear why they've left, how many countries they had to come through to get there. What do we do? I don't know. I don't have that answer because it is a complicated issue, especially with COVID, but it has to be dealt with empathy and compassion, not in the cold, heartless way that it was a few years ago. Again, I hope that those who are making decisions can be guided with that empathy and compassion, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I wish I had some miraculous answer.
It's really tough. So we are, this was a process that you did through this class is what got you started for the book. How long was what was your process in writing the story? Because people always want to know, did you sit down a certain time every day? Did you outline? How did you write this book?
At the time, I was teaching at what is called a year-round school as high school. At this point, I was teaching high school. I taught ESL for a while. Then I needed a full-time job with benefits. I ended up in an LA public high school. And this is called a year-round school, which means you teach for 4 months, you're off 2. You teach for 4 months, you're off 2, but you're paid the whole year. So those 2 months that I was off from teaching, I would get up early and sit down and write the whole day. And I would even have this little tiny notebook where I kept track how many pages did I get done each day. And then when it was time to go back to the school again, I couldn't write because I was doing lesson plans. An English teacher has essays. I had 35 kids in 5 classes. I mean, you can't write. There's no energy left. And so it was 2 months, 2 months, 2 months. It took me a couple of years to finish. And then it took me almost 1.5 years to almost 2 years to find an agent. And then when she got it around to some of the bigger publishing houses in New York, it was held by 3 or 4 editors for a couple of months, and then they ultimately passed. I was told later that in 2009, 2010, it was the worst time to publish fiction because of the recession. A lot of houses had downsized, on and on. So for a while, I stopped writing. I was so devastated, I stopped writing. And then I went to a writer's conference and I met one of the teachers, Elizabeth McKenzie, and she heard me talk about this novel and said, I'd love to take a look at it. And long story short, she said, sit down and get back to work on this and get it out there. And so I did. She gave me some pointers on how she felt I could update it a little or make it more contemporary. And I put my heart and soul into it once again. And then I heard about She Writes Press, which hadn't existed at the time I was trying to publish previously. And so although before I sent the manuscript to them, I sent it first to Alma Luz Villanueva. She is a Mexican-American writer who has lived in Mexico, San Miguel de Allende, for the past 15 years. So she knew the US and Mexico, and I wanted a Latina writer's eyes on this to tell me, does it ring authentic? Did I get it right? Am I close? And I was scared to death because she said, I'll be brutally honest. And bless her heart, as many of you know, she liked it, loved it, and wrote the foreword to it.
Oh, that gives me chills. I love this backstory on your book because this is what people don't understand. You can't, first of all, you got to get the book written. I mean, people tell me all the time, can you help me get my book published? And I go, what's it about? And they go, oh, I haven't written it yet. So call me back when you do, because that is the biggest hurdle, is getting the book down and done. If you do that, then the next thing is just being diligent and never giving up. I've had so many authors tell me they've been 30 submissions turned down, and then that 31st, somebody had turned them down before, a different editor said, we'll buy it. It's so subjective. So hopefully by being a part of our bigger whole, because we have a lot of people in our book club. When we put a book out there, you get a nice little push kind of into the limelight. Now, I'm not going to take any credit for the great books that y'all are writing. I'm just going to say that's what our focus is to help authors get discovered in a big way. So congratulations on getting that agent. She sounds pretty fantastic, and it sounds like you're pretty happy with She Writes Press.
I'm very happy with She Writes Press, and that's why I've decided to go with them. I'm working on a second novel, and it's slated for spring 2023. So
you're hard at it again. Now, Are you teaching now and still doing that?
I had retired from high school teaching, and I was teaching part-time ESL again. I went back. That was my love. I loved it, but that's part-time. So once I retired, I was teaching part-time locally until COVID. And since then, I haven't been back to the teaching. I'm just writing full-time right now. I possibly might take on a citizenship class, which would be fun. So that's kind of in the back of my mind.
Oh, that would be awesome. Has anybody ever been to a citizenship where you become an American citizen, where they do the swearing in? My book club went to Shreveport, Louisiana, and watched one of our book club members from South Africa become an American citizen. And I was in tears because what they have to learn was way more than we had to learn in school. So it was very, I don't even know how to, it was very touching. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I'm so glad that I was invited to do that. And I encourage you, what a wonderful thing to see those people when they get sworn in. Wouldn't that be, that's incredible. And thank you for being a wonderful teacher, because teachers are the first storytellers for all of us, right? I really feel like they should be the highest paid profession in the world because they've got the future in their hands. I mean, it just makes sense to me. But this COVID has thrown us all for a tizzy. Well, I want to open it up too, because we've got a lot of people here, and we want to know, they're going to have questions for you too about things I might not even think of. So, and then we're going to also ask you, what are some things you'd like to say that don't often get covered? So does anybody have a comment or a question? Yes, Mandy.
I loved this book so much, and I was so impressed. That's what I would tell everybody when I recommend the book. I mean, it was so believable, and you did such a great job in being Alma, which I just love Alma. And so when I finished, I was like, I have to find out everything about this author, because I didn't know you yet. You know, I met you right after that, and I was like, so I was reading everything I could about everything that you've done, which then I was like, that's how she was able to tell this story with such a true voice, because you know, it's like, it's hard. People, you have to put the work in, and a lot of people don't understand it. If you're going to write, you know, about a different, you know, culture or gender or what, you really have to put the work in, and a lot of people don't do it, and you can tell. But yours, I was blown away. I still am. Like, oh, I think about the end, like her whole journey, and I love that she was such a, like, school was so important to her, and math. I mean, I had chill bumps just thinking about it. Like, I just loved it so much.
Oh, thank you, Mandy. Coming from you, that means so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean every word of it.
Sarah, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yeah, this book sounds really fascinating. I had seen it in the magazine and was going, that looks good. And now, after hearing what you have to say, I definitely need to get a copy right away. Now, I have a question about speaking in the voice of a person from a different culture. And obviously, as everyone said, you have the total background for it. But I've encountered some resistance sometimes when I'm entering into another kind of person. And so have you had any discussion of that with your agents or publishers, or is it no problem? I mean, love to hear that it's no problem.
You mean the fact that I was writing, all my characters were Latina for the most part? Is that what you mean?
Right.
Well, certainly I was concerned, which is why I sent it to Alma Luz Villanueva. The agent that I had, and she is no longer representing fiction. Her name was Leticia Garcia. She was Leticia Gomez.
Okay.
She was Latina. Yeah. So, but there are many who firmly believe that I should not be telling that story, or only they should be told by someone who truly knows. And they do have a right to say that, because there is no way for me to really know what it's like to grow up in Oaxaca and be very poor and cross the desert. Like all of us, I can use my imagination. And yes, I've heard a lot of stories, read a lot of stories, met a lot of people. And so I can do that. And I certainly captured something close, and certainly reached people that learned something new. As Kathy pointed out, I had several readers say, I never knew any of this. But I also had, it was the most touching for me, a young girl who was Latina, and her mother crossed from El Salvador. And she said that when she first started reading, she was skeptical. And then as she got caught up in it, she identified with Alma and Luz as she saw it as her mother and her. And when she finished the book, she had a conversation with her mother and asked her questions she had never asked her before. And she learned things she didn't know. Her mother was lost in the desert for 10 days with her sister. She fell and hit her head on cactus. And so she said, I had a renewed appreciation for what my mother went through to come here and make a better life for me. And the fact that she reached that through my book is more rewarding than any award. So
what a gift.
There will be people who will feel, that that a book like that should be written by someone. And the other problem is there are many people who have written those books that didn't get published. There are voices that have been elevated and voices that have been suppressed or silenced or not given an opportunity. And so this whole thing that erupted after the, what was that book called?
American Dirt.
American Dirt, yeah.
I said American Dream because that's on my mind from my they have a point that the publishing community, the publishers needed to wake up and say, hey, we need to open this up to more diverse voices, give everyone a chance. And so that was a good thing to happen. But of course, at the same time, and I just listened to Sandra Cisneros and Luis Rodriguez the other night in conversation, because Sandra Cisneros has a new book out, and they were saying that a person can do what I've done, can write of another culture if they do it responsibly, respectfully, and get it as close to authentic as they can. And they both said, have it read by somebody who does know that culture. So.
Right. That's right. So, well, I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, Janine Cummings, who wrote that book, is a Pulpwood Queen author. We had picked her years ago for a book. So when that book came out, I love her. She is the most precious thing, and she worked so hard on that book. I think the other big problem that was, I think, overrode everything is the fact that she got the big money. I think that was more of the problem than the actual story, because she got a lot of money, and then that's why and they have a right, but I'm saying, everybody, send your books to us. Let Mandy and I read them. We want to hear a story we've not heard before. We have 12 authors this year. We're going to have 12 international authors and 12 bonus book club authors. And then we're bringing every author member into our celebration of reading. We've got lots of things planned where everybody's going to have their day in the sun. But the fact of the matter is, we got over 1,000 books. So it makes it hard. So if you got picked, you're good. I mean, Andy and I, we say, you know, people ask me all the time to review. Well, I've been blocked from Amazon won't let me review. I don't know why. I don't have a clue, but you are reviewed. If we pick you, you're 5 diamonds in the Pulpwood Queen tiara. And Mandy and I we're working. We're not done. We're still reading. You guys have got a stack over here. I've got Suzanne's book sitting right here in the stack to be reading next. So
before we had any of the slots filled, when we sat down, we're like, okay, we need to start looking at having 36, was it 36 total when you add, so we were, even then we were like, well, have you read this one? I really like this one. And we're like, we only have 35 slots left. Because it's like, there's so many good books.
Oh, it is. Every year I sweat bullets, because, you know, it's not only the opportunity that you give to somebody just to get that push, but then I think, so sometimes it takes years before we can work people in. Sarah has been a Pulpwood Queen for a long time and just had so many books coming at me. We finally got you on the list, Sarah, and we're really excited. We're really excited. We're not saying that any of the books aren't deserving. We're just saying that we can only pick, because if we pick too many, the Pulpwood Queen readers balk. You know, what? You want us to read? I go, well, Mandy and I read, how many books do you think we read this year, Mandy?
A lot.
Well, I always have my nose stuck in a book. But back to you, Deborah. Deborah, this is, you know, it's a passionate story for you. I mean, this is something you really believe in. When you were a little girl, did you ever think you would be writing something like this?
I had a very vivid imagination. I made up stories. I told lies. So there was a seed there. I mean, literally, you know, I made up, told people, oh, no, this is really true. So I knew, not as a little girl, but maybe a teenager, I knew I had an imagination. And I remember trying to play around with writing, but I started writing seriously in my 20s, and it's a struggle to get published, as I'm sure you all know. You know, I won a little short story contest at a college that got me all excited. But then when I started sending out, and of course I sent out to the big name things, because that's what you think, it's a tough life there. And as most writers know, you end up teaching, or there's some career that supports you while you keep at it. But I couldn't help it. I had to keep writing. I couldn't give up. I couldn't stop. I'm sure all of you have felt that too. And I was just thrilled what happened this last couple years when this book came out in June 2020, right in the middle of a pandemic, but it did quite well anyway. So
It's
Well,
doing.
that's a
fantastic.
question, Deborah. How did you launch it during COVID? I had to launch my book during COVID.
Well, first of all, I live in the Los Angeles area. There's no local cute little bookstore around me. So there was Roman's Bookstore in Pasadena, which is fabulous. And I was going to launch with them, but it's out in Pasadena. It's an hour from here if there's no traffic on the freeway. And who would come? And my family's all back east. I have a son down near San Diego with little children. I have a daughter who's a career woman, really busy. And while I'm sure they'd all make an effort, I worried who the heck would be able to make it in the traffic. But I was going ahead with it. And if there were 10 hearty souls, I would be happy with that. And then COVID happened and it was a virtual launch. And people from all over the country were able to come. And so I think I had a total of 84 and I was thrilled. It was
That's
just
fabulous.
Yes, yes.
Yay.
So for me, it actually was and I'm also not much of a traveler. I'm a homebody, an introvert. And so it's been okay for me this past year to do Zooms and that sort of thing. Although I did finally have a live event at a local library, and I have another one lined up in December at a library. And it's fun to actually talk to people that are right there.
Right.
So, yeah.
My word for last year was pivot. And as soon as I was in a corral, all of a sudden we couldn't put on our thing. As soon as I knew, Sarah and I have one of the best, and Kathy's been to it. Village Books is outstanding.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And watching an indie bookstore pivot, suddenly having to close the doors, was figuring out if you go on our website, we'll be there and hand you what you want. We'll hand you the book. But I was about the fourth person. I said, look, I'm happy to be on Zoom. And I had the same thing, Deborah. I had someone in Toronto, South Carolina, Boston, all checking in. And I think being hybrid in this new media, being able to have it in person, and the reach is amazing. So I did a giveaway too, which was fun. The bookstore went like, what? I said, no, I'll pay for the postage and you pick somebody. And actually turned out to be someone local who could come and get it. Otherwise, I've been going to Toronto. But pivoting, I think it's part of our author life now. And Kathy has definitely pivoted, and with Mandy on board, it's just like, it's amazing.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, I think virtual is the future. That's what I was going to say. If you were, I was thinking, it's the future now. I think we're going to see a lot of this. Even as things open up, there'll still be a lot of Zoom, or there'll be both. A live event with somebody filming it as a
hybrid.
Facebook. Hybrid.
There is something about Zoom, though. I mean, I've been doing this going in the 21st year. I love Girlfriend Weekend because we have so much fun and everything. I don't think I get as much information as I have from this year doing the Zoom meetings. Because when you have the Zoom, we're literally in conversation with you, Deborah, and we can ask you personally. And I think that's what makes our book club so unique, is because we're not just watching a webinar. And I watch those too, but I don't know about you, but after a while, I kind of think I'd sure like to ask them a question. I know you can type it and all that stuff, but we think that's why our book club convention it's going to be live, where each panel, if you're a member, you can jump on board. And we want all of you if you have any tidbits as we do these Zooms of things you want to share. That's why we started the Writers Club. And we're going to have a panel in our weekend this year where the people that have been doing the Writers Club are going to talk about mentoring to the newbies, and because everybody, it's been a joke for years. I'm a Pulpwood Queen virgin. I've never picked. Well, let me tell you, we've all been there, and we all are learning and evolving into, if we ever open up again, it will always be a hybrid, because when we had our first International Book Club convention, we had people coming from all over the country. I mean, all over the world. And we had authors who I never could get before said, "Oh, you're doing a Zoom?" Adriana Trigiani said, "Oh,
yeah.
there," you know. So we're having, you know, Janet Skeslin Charles from Paris or Boo Walker from Spain. And we just have opened it up. And I think now, I think we'll always want to have that little bit of a live experience, but this is pretty amazing. And we're all sharing each other's lives. I mean, I just want to know more about all of you. And because this is just really fun for me. I mean, I love hearing what you have to say. So Deborah, tell me about your family. Okay, so how you said, well, you know, they'll try to come to my book signing and everything. I think it's very interesting. I found that the authors that tend to have better results are when family is very supportive. Did you have a very supportive family?
Oh, very supportive. Yeah. And in fact, I had told my son that at Vroman's, where they do the presentations, it's right by the children's department. You know, the children's section of the books. And I said, so you can let him run around, you can wander around and come back and forth. And that's what they were going to do. They were going to do the best they could. So, and then of course, as it turned out, it was all on the computer. So that worked.
And Grandma is an author. How cool is that?
Yeah. I was just talking to my grandson, my 5-year-old grandson this weekend about that, which by the way, I am so impressed with the iPads these kids use now to learn. He's in kindergarten and he's learning how to read, and it's so much fun because they get to play games if they get so many points. And so he keeps doing the math or the reading assignments, and then so he can go play the game. And we did it practically the whole weekend. I mean, what kid would do their schoolwork? You know, to him it was play. So it's pretty exciting, the future for kids with a lot of the technology.
I think so too. And I think we need to, you know, instead of, you know, I'm an old school girl, you know, the technology is frightful to me. Mandy laughs all the time at some of the things I ask her. She goes, "Oh my gosh, Kathy, it's not that hard." Today we were talking about my printer. I have a brand new printer.
Oh yeah. The printer, we got to get that. But the escape, I was like, just hit like escape. And she was like, "There's not one on this one." I was like, "There is an escape button on every keyboard, Kathy, I promise."
I've always had apples and now I've got it.
Yeah, I don't think there's an escape. Oh, there it is up there. You're right.
Up in the corner.
Well, part of the problem is I'm 65 and my eyes are shot. So I'm constantly going, where's my readers? And I don't have them. So I can't see that escape button. I can't see the start button either. So that's why
I called your main character Alma because Alma Luce, the author that wrote the foreword. Did you change the name of your character because of that, or did you already?
You know, it's funny. I wrote all of this before I met her and communicated with her. However, I probably had read her novel that won the American Book Award back in the 90s. But there were two names I wanted for my main character, Esperanza or Alma. Esperanza means hope. Alma means soul. But there's only one Esperanza in literature, and that's Sandra Cisneros' Esperanza in the House on Mango Street, which I taught for many years. So Alma was my main character. Now, the reason, if you've read it, there's a reason why she names her daughter Luz. Luz means light in Spanish. And there's a very pivotal moment in the novel that is the reason she names her Light. And so that's why it was Luz. And so it wasn't no Alma and Luz, but when Alma Luz read it, she said, "Oh, I was thrilled that these characters had my name, you know." So maybe that helped to get her support. I don't know, but she was
how the universe works.
I have a question too. Have you thought or even been contemplated doing a book signing Zoom in Mexico?
I don't really have any contacts. I don't know. And
Well,
again,
I have a contact for you.
okay. I don't know how it would be received. Again, I don't know what the views of people there would be of a book. Again, it's
The
a touch.
book is a great connector, but my friend Debra Rodriguez, who lives in I don't know if I can pronounce it, Malsa. It's a tourist cruise city, port city. She's there, and she works with Beauty with Beyond Borders. She's a hairdresser like me, and she's the one that wrote the Cabell Beauty School, but she's now in Mexico. And I bet she would love to do a Zoom thing with you. It would be really fun. Let me see if I can work on that. Maybe we could get the Pulpwood Queens to go meet with Debbie in Mexico and do a Zoom with your book. I'm thinking that let's build some bridges. You know, this world is trying to tear everybody apart, you know, and they did this and they did that, and so let's go bomb them. And I say, let's sit down and have a conversation. Let's read a book and let's talk about the hard issues, but without getting angry or but let me see. It just came to me as we were talking. How fun would that be? And Debbie has invited me down there. I don't know how many times. She goes, "You've got to come to." It's called Tippy Toes, and they do everything from manicure, pedicures, you know, whatever. And I think she's in the U.S. right now. She travels a lot, and she is the bravest. I mean, can you imagine going to Kabul, Afghanistan, and opening a beauty school?
Wow.
This was years ago in the early 2000s. And she was a flaming redhead, very tall, and she wore shorts and no head covering.
Oh.
She was afraid she was always going to get killed. But she's from Michigan. So wouldn't that be cool? So, well, we'll work on that. So anybody else have anything they want to ask about the book, the process, or the writing, or?
I want to jump on what you said, Kathy, that I think that Mexico idea might be a good idea, Deb, because, you know, my book is also, you know, written, other cultures, other races are in the characters in my story. And I had some concerns about pushback, and a Black professor in Louisiana read my book, got a copy of it, and he became such a strong advocate for me. And we both, the purpose of our books is to create conversations and to, you know, those bridges that you're talking about, you want to build those bridges. So I would try, because, you know,
I'm going to try.
It's something, you know, your story is credible because of your experiences, because of your research, because of you vetted it with Alma Luz. I'm not going to say her name, Villanova. No.
Villanueva.
Yeah, okay. You say it. I'm And, you know, I did the same thing. I wanted to be sure that I was accurate, authentic, as best I could be. And the other part of it is that as a white woman, I also felt a responsibility. I mean, when you witness or experience an event that you have that unique view of, and there's people that aren't happy with my book, but that's okay. You know, they have a different perspective, but for the most part, it's been well received, and it's created conversations in my family, with my friends, with book clubs, and that's what you want. Have these conversations, open up some people's minds. So go for it.
Right. Yeah,
Good idea, Kathy.
I think it's important. Yeah, I think it's important. And years ago, I read a book by an author named Lolita Tatamy. And it was about this woman who lived in Berkeley, California, that decided she was a corporate leader. She decided that she wanted to write an Alex Haley story of her life. And so she started researching it, and she found out she was from down Cane River, Natchitoches, Louisiana. So she goes there and she starts looking into her mother's side of the family, and she finds out all these years that she thought she was African American, she was actually more French American. She was all these other, in fact, they repeated generations so fast back in the day when they first brought the slaves over that they passed, all of her relations passed for white people. And so this one boy, you know, he could pass for that was her ancestor, could pass for a white man, but he couldn't, because if you just had a drop of black blood in you, you were still considered. So he went out and married the blackest woman he could find. And so anyway, Lolita came through on a tour. And I said, you know what, let's have a brunch for Lolita. And I invited the White Garden Club and the Black Garden Club. And it was the coolest thing that happened, because what happened was, I'll never forget Lolita going, wait a minute, are you, there was a book club member, she goes, are you from Natchitoches? She goes, who was your grandfather? She goes, that was my grandfather. And everyone in the room,
Small world.
I said,
Wow.
you don't, that's why this DNA thing has taken on a new meaning. But I saw everybody in the room go, we think we're something. And so I checked out mine and I found out I wasn't anything what I thought I was. I thought I was Scot-Irish. I'm Northern European. I have some Scot-Irish, but I actually have ancestors from Norway. I go, I had no idea. I was really expecting American Indian. It didn't happen. But what we need to know is that we're all just people. We may have different shades, we have different cultures, we may have different customs, different religions, but don't we all have the same wants and needs? We want to be loved, we want to love people, we want food, water, shelter, to feel safe. So if we share our stories like we did, that was the best book club meeting. She went on to become an Oprah Winfrey book club selection. And then she wrote Red River, which was about her father's family. But that was really fun. But thinking outside the box, and even though it may be controversial, if you feel the passion for it, Debra, thank God you did that, you know, and think of the experience that of reading your students when they read their book, how that must make them feel that you gave them a voice. I mean, that's really important too, because basically what the Hispanic writers are wanting is they want a voice too. They want it to be at the table. So what we're trying to do, and here I am as just white looking as can be, but what I'm trying to say is that's why I dress in other cultures and everything. I love everybody. I may be a mutt, but I think that if we all share stories like Debra's and we sit down and have the conversation, I don't know about you, but I leave feeling great, you know? Yeah. So yes, Kathy.
I just wanted to say yes, because the reason that I write about other cultures is because that's what 25 years of my life was. And I used to have people before this Renaissance in books where other cultures can tell their story and they are being heard. And I'd be out in the field in Africa or Bosnia or, you know, any place. And they would come up and say, please, 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 the world needs to hear about this. And that's what you're doing, Debra, and others of us that are writing these stories. So I'm about halfway through. I'm going to reserve a question till I finish, but I'm loving it. Thank you.
Well,
And thank you, Kathy.
I'm hoping that everybody that's listening out there in Facebook that says, well, I've got a story that hasn't been heard, send it to us. Go to our website, www.thepulpwoodqueens.com. And on our author membership page, we have the criteria and we have our addresses. We want to read your books. We just got to get them in order to see them. And quite frankly, I just read a story today that because of COVID, the book publishing is getting ready to experience something that is unexpected. We're not going to be getting books printed the way they normally printed. The turnaround time is going to be long or not at all. I just ordered an author's book and it says it's 5 weeks out on reorder. Just came out, the reading list. It's a new book, and they don't know when they'll have it back in stock because the printers are overseas. A lot of them are in China. The transport containers aren't coming. Then Paul Roberson is from a trucking background family. He goes, nobody's trucking. There aren't enough trucks to get the stuff to the bookstore. So if you see a book you want to read, you better grab it. You'll support the independent bookstores first because they've had the hardest time. But this is a wonderful conversation, and I think for every single person here, if we can talk maybe one other person into joining us, we can continue it and spread this news. But it's going to take a village, you know, to make the change happen. But Deborah's got a great book. She's got like 5, 6 awards on it. I don't have the copy. I don't even have the Pulpwood Queen sticker on my book. But I think I got an early copy. But we are thrilled, and Mandy's been showcasing in the magazine your awards. If you are an author and you have gotten some kind of accolade, go to our page and post it. You know, if you're a member, you can post it, and we will. Me hunting them down all the time is just not, right now I'm too busy working on this. So post your things. Yes, Kathleen.
I wanted to follow on with Kathy Ramsberger and just say this. I had the privilege of reading an advanced copy of her second novel, 1,000 Flying Things. She is at the top of her game in this book. The story opens up in southern Sudan in 1991. I was completely drawn in, and I read the Shores of Our Souls, but 1,000 Flying Things coming out, 2022, 2023. Anyways, I just had to give Kathy a plug.
Great. And you know, it depends on the printer. So
yeah, the printer's going to be a tough thing, but Mandy and I want to read them, you know, get us the books, and soon we'll have a cutoff time for this year because it's you know, almost October. And we're going to be voting for Books of the Year. For those of you that don't know, a ballot's going to be going out to all members to vote on your Book of the Year, your bonus Book of the Year, and your international Book of the Year. They're tallied, and then we will make those announcements at our annual conference. And we want everybody that was on the 2021 list to be present because we're going to recognize all of you again. We're going to do our awards show on Sunday night. We're going to be like the Academy Awards. We're going to make it a big show. We want you to wear ball gowns. No, I'm just, you know, whatever you want to wear. You can wear a ball gown. So
ball caps.
or a ball cap, or write a book about a baseball, you know. But we're really growing, and some of the books that have won in the past have gone on to just international fame, you know. Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate, The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert, The Help by Catherine Stockett, Same Kind of Different as Me by Ron Hall. In fact, I've been telling everybody next summer, because so many of our books are going to film, like I Am Somebody's Someone by Regina Louise, which is fabulous, by the way. I think next summer I'm going to do a Pulpwood Queen film festival where, Robert, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
We're going to host this, and we're going to bring on the authors who wrote the book and maybe see if we can get some of the actors and people involved in the film setting to speak before we watch the film. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I don't know about you, but I think reading and storytelling through film is the best entertainment in the world. Yes, Robert.
So I would like to ask, I know that we're getting close to the top of the hour. But Deborah, could you tell us a little bit about what you're working on now?
Well, the story I'm working on now, I call it Pangea. Now, I don't know whether my publisher will use that title. That's Pangea is the supercontinent, that it was all connected and it broke apart and formed the current continents. But in my mind, it's a sphere and it's coming back together because we are all connected. It is about a brother and sister in their 40s. The brother experiences a tragedy and the sister who lives on the East Coast comes out to the West Coast to help him through the crisis. There is an estranged father who abandoned them when they were young that comes back into the picture, and a rebellious 19-year-old daughter who is a singer-songwriter who has run off to Seattle. That is the female character's daughter. And so there's a lot of fragmentation of the family. And of course, they will end up on a journey of sorts where they hopefully will come back together like Pangea. So that's kind of an
I
interesting.
love that title. That's just,
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
yeah. And how close are you to into the book? Are you?
I finished the second draft and I've now sent it out to a few people to get their opinions and feedback. And then there's this one particular, Elizabeth Mackenzie, who was the writer that helped me last time. She's going to give it a look too, and then I'll do final revisions, and it's slated for spring 2023 with She Writes Press.
All right, there's another great read to read. Wow, that's something I've never heard about before. That's what we're looking for. You know, we get a lot of books, and what's sad is sometimes people write books and they think it's an original story, you know, and it's not. It's been told over, and I mean, if I get one more Queen book, I mean, there's always the Queen recommends this or does that, and they all start sounding just alike, you know. It's hard. You have an original concept or thought, and Mandy's really good about finding those too. So any questions for us as we move ahead with our you know, going into our annual convention from you?
Are we wearing PJs?
You know, we wore our pajamas last year, and you know, I think that's really up to you.
We're Zoom and you can wear, as long as you're covered, you can wear whatever you want.
Oh, darn.
I think it's fine. Now we do call the line of getting up to go make a sandwich, and we have to watch you get up and go into the kitchen. We had that happen last year. And then one of our authors thought
Oh, that was funny. That was right. That was
Brushing her
hysterical.
teeth.
One of our authors thought she had turned the camera off, and she went into the bathroom and started brushing her teeth. So, but we were on for a long time, everybody, a long time. So if you have to get up, just mute your video. It's very simple. You know, if you need to let the cat in or the dog out, or you want to make a sandwich. But it was hilarious watching Joe sandwich, but I was getting so tickled. But we don't have a dress code. The one thing we do ask is that, by God, if you're a Pulpwood Queen, put something snappy on your head and wear a crown. I don't care if it's a ball cap. I don't care if it's a stocking hat, but you know, that's kind of what got me all the attention when I was on, you know, Oprah Winfrey and, you know, Good Morning America and all these magazines calling me. They go, "Why would you crown yourselves queen?" And I go, "Because don't we all deserve to wear the crown?" I'm sorry, but I think, being in service for others. Why do you have to be like, you know, born into it? So I telling everybody, wear the crown. We rule. So, and
Well, I
if
got my tip
Can we
knocked
talk
off.
about
I went
that?
outside and got my tip knocked off when I went out to the theater, and I bought that in Nacogdoches the first time I went. It's a well, you know, the cake company. So I have to buy a new one. But you did have us wear slumberwear for our author picture. That's why I was asking that. So.
Janet, do you always wear your crown out to the bird feeder?
Well, I think it was during the convention, so I had to go check on the birds, and it went like.
I was wearing mine at the convention and my little dog got out and I'm chasing her down the street in my pajamas wearing a tiara. And
I went to the grocery store, and I used to live in Jefferson, and the grocery store was called the Piggly Wiggly. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I ran into the Piggly Wiggly because we're having book club meeting in my shop, and I have this trifle that I do on the top of my manicure table with 3 ingredients. It's whipped cream, pecan pie, and those Heath bars crackled up on top. Anyway, I ran in to do it, and I didn't have on my tiara. And when I got up to the counter, all the checkers go, "Where's your crown?" Everybody in the store goes, "Why don't you have it on? Isn't tonight book club?" And I go, "Seriously? Are you kidding me? I'm running late." And they go, "Well, if it's book club night, I thought you said they were mandatory." I mean, all the people in the grocery store just started laughing. And I thought, well, from now on, I guess I better wear my tiara to the grocery store on book club night. But it makes people laugh, and it also opens the conversation. Why do you have on tiara? Because I am a member of this crazy book club. And that's really how we got all this attention. If you do things a little bit different than everybody else, and that's why your stories, if you write something that's never been written about, and if you think about doing things like, I'm telling you, we could get some news stories off of this, Debra, if we got you set up to do a Zoom meeting. I'm going to contact Debra tomorrow. I don't know. She may be in the United States right now. I'm going to go, hey, when you get back, could we do an international Zoom meeting? I don't know what the time difference is, but we could work something out. And I think that would be a lot of fun and have that conversation. And she could have all of her, people who work in her salon there and clients. It would be a blast. It would be really fun. I've been trying to find book clubs in other countries, and I haven't had much luck. But they're starting to trickle in. The author, from another country will tell their friends. So we're going to have a wonderful up and coming year. COVID's not going to stop our book club. We're going to. Yeah.
Can we talk about what we're going to do for the hairball?
Yes.
Can I show that?
Yeah.
So everybody can
show what we're going to do. It's a mess.
So it's a masquerade ball. And so we're going to have prizes for the craziest masks, the most, I don't know, fun. It's just going to be fun. And then, because everybody's sick of the masks, so let's have fun with it.
We're going to have a masquerade ball, and basically everybody comes, they'll be introduced, and then we'll have the big reveal. Who's behind the mask? So we want everybody to bring their books so they can, ta-da, it's Debra Thomas. Oh my gosh, So have fun with it, be creative. We're going to have prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're planning a lot of different things like that, and a lot of content for both readers and authors. We've got a lot of really fun professional book publisher insiders coming, bloggers, podcasters, and unusual people interviewing each other. We're really mixing it up. What is it? That's awesome. Did you just happen to have that right there?
It's just a regular Tuesday night for Kathleen.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, where's the camera? I gotta get a snap of this because this is really cute. Good idea. My kids do that all the time, and I don't really understand it. They just think it's hilarious. They get on there. Oh my!
I just learned how to do this on a Zoom practice thingy.
Well, that's
And I'm like a little kid. I was with my baby sis because I'm helping on this Women Writing the West conference, and I'm having to practice Zoom. Like, Mandy, you're an expert, Kathy. And when I figured out this thing, oh my God, I was driving my little sister crazy. And then I found out how to get out of it. But okay, I just had to have fun.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
You got to show me how to do that.
You go to stop it. Go down to stop video.
Oh, okay. I don't want to do that.
And
click on the arrow.
Put it on your arrow. And if mine says FaceTime HD camera, choose virtual background or choose video filter. I think it's choose video filter. Now, my little sister didn't have all these options, but I have everything over here right underneath the video. Like there's a little doggy.
Oh, I see
There's
it.
sunglasses. Can you all see that?
I'll have to play with that.
And this is my favorite.
Oh
my Okay, so I can tell I need to get out more, but okay, I'll shut up.
Oh my gosh. Oh, a unicorn. That's hysterical. So you don't even live.
Mandy.
Create one. Like, I'll tell you, one day, Mandy and I had the funnest time because if anybody knows me, they know I fell down the Bollywood rabbit hole and I love Shah Rukh Khan. So Mandy she's working on my new book cover and she had it's just hilarious. She had a picture of me just looking real snappy, but she had a picture of Shah Rukh Khan leaning back. We laughed so hard. The things
Leg was wrapped around Kathy's waist and he's pulling her in.
I go, oh my God. I laughed so hard. I go, it was fun. We were just having a good time. So anyway, we're going to have a good time and we're going to sell a ton of books and we've got lots of things. So if you haven't, I think everybody here has gotten me, that I've contacted that has gotten me, well, maybe not. I sent out a letter to everybody that's going to be featured authors so far, not everybody, but everybody pays here for the week-long event because it's not that we're charging you to come. We're doing a week-long program for you that's going to be a resource that you can go to all year and watch these videos. And it's also helped support my team that's putting this all together. And I mean, the hours we put into this, Mandy's just, I don't even know how she keeps her eyes open. But I have to say, I'm kind of pooped too. But we're going to have a lot of fun. So get your packages, get your memberships. And then what we're going to do is everybody who comes is going to be introduced to you're going to meet everybody, whether you're.
I am. So doing this program with photos and then, so all the authors that are coming that aren't moderators or on a panel, we're making pages that show you with your book, and it's authors you'll meet. So to get the readers know that, okay, they'll see the panels, who they're going to have, like the moderators, but they'll also see who else is in the audience that they can have conversations with about the panels. And then for our happy hour get-togethers, we're thinking about doing a little storytelling thing, and that's for everybody that comes to be able to just meet each other, as much as you can on Zoom, but to let the readers know everybody that's going to come, like all the authors, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
It's going to be the most ambitious program that we've ever done, but it's going to be fun. So I know it's going to be time. I mean, it was hard enough last year doing it 4 days. This year it's Tuesday through Sunday and it's night, day. If you can't go to everything's recorded. It's going to be downloaded onto our YouTube channel and you can watch it at your own leisure. And at first it's just going to be for the people who paid to come. Later on, when we start promoting our next one, we'll start sharing them again. But you can all put these up on your websites. You can share all your panels. If somebody wants to know what you're like at a speaking engagement, you'll have a video to show them. So we're trying to do as many things as we can. And I think people are paying attention. I got so many calls yesterday from authors all over the country. Do you have everything you need? I'm so excited to come. And I'm like, I've like been, my battery has been recharged because everybody's really excited this year. Not anybody's going to me, you mean we're not going to have it in person? They're just, you know, everybody knows we're not going to have it in person. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a while. So we might as well have fun with it. So Mandy, do you want to show them the cover of the what you're working on for the program? The program, you know, I just cry because it's beyond anything I've seen for any book festival. And I can't even imagine how many hours she's been working on this. It's going to be great. I've been sharing the cover, but she's actually building content on the pages now too.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to, excuse me. I'm going to find I made a little flip book before I put it into the,
So somebody said they didn't know they could flip the pages, but it's really eye-catching of how you did it. And it's full color, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
so there's the front page of the program. Let's see.
There's our team. If you haven't met our Paul, he's been with me for over 10 years.
No, Paul deserves a year-long vacation.
Yeah.
Wherever he wants to go. He works so hard, and he's just so laid back and easygoing.
Mm-hmm. He really is. So there's the opening page,
Yeah,
which I love it.
I can't find my little flip book. But like here's an example of like the keynote authors. So it's, you know,
I haven't even seen this. Have you got it done?
yeah, and if I could find, well, okay, hang on. What's in here? Oh, so here's like Pulpwood, Queen, and Timber Guy authors you'll meet. So see how it has your name, and the book, and your author photo. Oh, I don't have the content in these. But like our Madville Publishing, Bookish Road Trip, A Mighty Blaze. It's going to look good. I mean, it'll be easy till you'll be able to flip the pages and actually read. Where am I? Oh, I think I have it in a.
How do you keep all this stuff straight? I don't know how you do it.
Well, obviously not very good.
Well, we're still so new at really getting all this. But anyway, it's a beautiful cover. It's going to be fantastic. You'll be able to, look at it well ahead of time to know what everything that's going on. If you're a member, you're going to be getting ballots to vote. You can vote for yourself for Book of the Year, Bonus Book of the Year, or International Book of the Year. If you are an author member, a book club member, everybody gets one vote. And it's kind of like the President of the United States. You know, surely they vote for themselves. I would think. But anyway, yeah. Well,
Mandy, what site is it on? On the new group Hangout or
Facebook? I put it up on
which group?
the author page, I think.
What's the author page?
it's the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club authors.
I'll go there. I bet I can. Good thinking, Eileen. Eileen, you saved us. What was it the last visit, the last meeting that we had, and you had a great idea.
What's that? What?
I can't remember what it was that you gave me a good idea on the last Zoom that we had.
Oh.
Well, we get a lot of good ideas from these meetings. Absolutely. So anyway, are you going to be able to pull it up?
I think.
It's on the International Pulpwood Queen page. Okay, let me see. Designer page. And, oh yeah, and then you flip. Whoops. There it is.
Here we go. Look at this, you guys.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Oh,
It's
wow.
gonna be awesome.
I wish I had the pages with the content. I've got them in a PDF because I save them as I go, but I can't. See, it'll be so easy
And you get to
reader
see
friendly.
everybody in their books. Isn't that great? There's Deborah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, you guys sent the photos in, so, and the book cover, so it's your work. So this is just the beginning. Yeah, Susan's so cute. Well, you guys, this has been a wonderful time. If you haven't read Deborah's book, I know you will now. And we're really excited because she's one of the ones that will be up for bonus book of the year. And I never know. I always am shocked every year by the tally of votes. I always am shocked. So, but it helps when you are present at these type of things because, you know, it's just like the person that oftentimes gets the most popular votes is the one that they see the most, you know, or they recognize the name the most. But it does seem like every year it's the one that participated the most or, you know, went out of their way to be at a book club meeting or anything. So, and we're going to have some other ways to connect you to book clubs for next year that we're working on that will be exciting and get more people on board. So anyway, any last thoughts, Deborah, that you want to share with us on things that we may not have covered?
Well, I just wanted to briefly say I haven't been able to attend this because I think you know I have horses. I have 1.5 horses. A little
One and little.
I have my quarter horse has a hip injury and he gets medicine twice a day. So I am usually over there around 4, 5, 6 in that time period, taking care of things. So I've missed an awful lot between.
But you can watch them on YouTube because they all go onto YouTube.
Yeah, oh, yes, I know that. I mean, attending live. Yeah.
And TK Thorne just took on 2 rescue horses during COVID, and they're doing very well. So we have a lot of people that are into horses. Ironically, you guys can come and visit me because right across the road from me is Deer Valley Trail Rides, and we can all go on a trail ride together. So yeehaw. Here we are in Texas. So thank you all really for joining us tonight. Any last words that any breaking news that we don't know? Okay, then.
I'd like to end with a little quote that I used in my classroom. I've used it everywhere, and that is that it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And that was really the purpose of writing, you know, we have a lot of problems in the world, but what can we do about it? What can each one of us do? So
we can all do something. And just as a reminder, this Saturday night is our book and film club with Robert Walton and Ruthie Landis, and we're going to be doing a brand new contemporary film starring Diane Keaton called Palms. And if you have not seen it, I watched it twice with my daughter. We watched it once and we turned around and watched it again. It's about a woman who goes through a traumatic, life-changing experience, sells her home, and she moves into a gated community for seniors. So there's lots of golf cart riding, and she's told that you have to join one club if you're going to be here. We have hundreds of them, but you have to. She didn't find any that she liked, so she decided to start her own, and she decided to start a cheerleading club. It is a joy to watch because these women and the relationships remind me of my book club members. We're all so different. They come from all different walks of life. And you've got, watch it, Palms, it's on Netflix. It's really funny. And we're going to be discussing it. And I've been told that Ruthie may come as a palm. She said I couldn't do the cheerleading thing, but I may just come as a pom-pom. So I have to see that. I just have to see it. So it's at 6:30. If you go to the events page on our new group Hangout, it has the permanent link. So it's the same every time. So we don't have to send them out anymore. The Writers Club, we still haven't figured out how to do that because they
Because
don't.
Kathy couldn't find the escape button.
No, it's because it's the second Saturday every month and they didn't give me that option. So I'll figure it out. So anyway, you all have a wonderful night. Deborah, thank you.
So much for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome to
Thank
see
you,
you.
Deborah.
Thank you for coming from Japan and stay safe, COVID safe. I've got my mask here somewhere. I wore it all day today. So thank you.
Oh, start making your masks for the,
Oh, I have one.
Listen, I even sell masks on my fashions now. I have a Pulpwood Queen mask that I shared today on Facebook. I went in and I've created all these different masks using my art, but I have one that's just Pulpwood Queen. It's hysterical. I think I'm probably going to use that one, but you can doll it up. So have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. And then don't forget, tomorrow morning, Deborah's on all this week for the Pulpwood Queen Presents my pick. So I can't wait to see what you have to say, Deborah. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. And God bless. God bless everyone. It's all about the story. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.